Turning a video game into a movie is tough to get right. Just watch Doom if you don't believe us. But Resident Evil has somehow managed to survive and thrive for more than a decade, turning it into one of the longest-running sci-fi franchises around.
And mutating the whole human race.
Now, Resident Evil, the final chapter, is closing the book on the series on January 27th.
Everyone stay calm.
We thought it was the perfect time to bring you all up to speed on this 15-year-old zombie-fueled film franchise.
A deadly virus.
First off, all you really need to know is the Umbrella Corporation is bad, made a zombie T-virus, zombies have overrun the world, and Alice is the post-apocalyptic superhero fighting all of them. Got it?
Oh my god.
Good.
We have to get out of this building.
But it's a bit more complicated than that.
It's the brakes!
Before you can talk about the movies, you need to remember where it all started. Capcom's 1996 video game hit, Resident Evil. The game was a haunted house story with zombies, and pretty much created the survival horror genre. The first title spawned a franchise that's going strong to this day, featuring everything from worldwide pandemics to corporate conspiracies, and zombie elephants. Don't forget the zombie elephants. That success and weirdness is the reason Hollywood took a chance on Resident Evil in the early 2000s.
She isn't standing now.
With the final chapter, the franchise is set to span a total of 6 movies and more than $1 billion by the time the last one is done. The critics might not love these movies, but fans just can't get enough.
No one is immune. Resident Evil.
You're all going to die down here.
In 2002, Paul W.S. Anderson directed the first Resident Evil film, which racked up more than $100 million on a modest $35 million budget. But he's been the main creative presence throughout the entire saga.
Good thing we like a challenge.
He kept the bones of the video game story, but introduced a new protagonist, Mila Jovovich's Alice, who leads the charge into an underground facility overrun with zombies. It's here we meet the evil Umbrella Corporation that created the virus, and Alice eventually realizes she's actually an employee of the company, but working to take it down from the inside. Surprise! She didn't know because she'd been hit with amnesia gas. We did mention this company was shady, right? Alice and a team of commandos break into the Hive research base, which is run by a creepy little girl AI called the Red Queen.
Get out, you can't be in here.
They fight past that great scene with the laser grid defense system, aka the only thing you probably remember from this movie, until they eventually find an antivirus. A young Michelle Rodriguez, fresh off the first Fast and the Furious movie, is also there as a commando on the team, being a total badass. Because of course she is. Just when it looks like Alice might make it out, she and another survivor are seized by Umbrella scientists. Her friend Matt is also put in the Nemesis program, which we'll talk more about later. Flash forward, and Alice wakes up in a post-apocalyptic Raccoon City, ready for another round of zombie fighting. Or 5 sequels, whatever comes first. Next up is Resident Evil Apocalypse, which pays off on the promise of an entire city overrun with zombies and monsters.
The infection is spreading faster than anyone could have.
Umbrella attempts to reopen the Hive,
I want to know what went on down there.
which is about the worst idea ever, and zombies immediately overrun the town. Alex wakes up with super strength, thank you Umbrella Experiments, and hooks up with a team of survivors, most notably video game character Jill Valentine, who makes the jump to the big screen. Umbrella locks down the town, and it basically becomes a citywide zombie shoot-'em-up. We also learn the genesis of the zombie T-virus. Dr. Charles Ashford created it to cure his sick daughter, but Umbrella tweaked it to create a bioweapon. Because there's a lot of profit in zombie apocalypses. Eh? Just go with it. The crew is coerced into rescuing his daughter, which also serves as a disgustingly fun set piece with zombie dogs and freaky zombie kids. Though it turns out that the Umbrella Corporation is actually watching everything.
I'm surprised there's anyone left alive.
With plans to use the chaos to test out its new super weapon. Remember Alice's old pal Matt? Yeah, he's not looking so good these days. It all leads to an Umbrella trap, designed for an Alice vs. Nemesis face-off to see which weapon is best. A classic video game move. But Alice appeals to whatever humanity is left in the creature, and we get a super monster team-up to take out the resident Umbrella stooge. See what we did there? Umbrella nukes Raccoon City to cover up the outbreak as a reactor explosion, and Alice is impaled as their escape helicopter crashes. But we still have 4 more movies, so don't worry. She wakes up at an Umbrella base with even more superpowers,
I remember everything.
including the nightmare fuel of making people's faces bleed with her psychic abilities. Just as Jill and a few more survivors show up to stage a
They'll take over
jailbreak.
from here.
Level 6 authorization.
Except it's implied Umbrella can still control Alice. The story continues in 2007's Resident Evil Extinction, which just ratchets up the crazy. The T-Virus has wiped out pretty much the entire planet in the first 7 minutes. Umbrella creates a massive army of Alice clones to try and replicate the success of the OG Alice. Yeah, that'll turn out well.
For those of us left, staying on the road seemed the only way to stay alive.
Alice hits the road in a story akin to Mad Max meets The Hills Have Eyes, but you know, with zombies and superpowers too. Alice links up with a caravan of survivors led by video game crossover Claire Redfield,
Fire it up. Let's get out of here.
as well as a few apocalypse survivors. We also meet Umbrella's evil chairman, Albert Wesker, a recurring baddie from the games who will be the film series' key nemesis. He's played by hilariously blonde Jason O'Mara. Kill it with fire. And we don't mean the zombies.
Then perhaps we should place someone else in charge. Someone who can give us the reassurances we require.
After a botched attempt to recapture Alice because she's the only person capable of bonding with the virus and not going full zombie, she tracks down the Umbrella facility and goes toe-to-toe with one of the biggest baddies from the games, the Tyrant.
You can't kill me.
She uses a replica of the laser grid from the first Resident Evil to take him out, and declares war on Umbrella with the army of remaining Alice clones.
'Cause I'm coming for you. And, I'm gonna be bringing a few of my friends.
In the meantime, Claire and the other survivors head to an apparent safe haven in Alaska. We're sure that'll go great. Alice pays off on her threat in 2010's Resident Evil Afterlife, launching an all-out assault with her clones on Umbrella's underground Tokyo headquarters.
Is that any way to treat a lady?
Alice takes out the guards in an action scene straight out of a long-lost Matrix sequel, but Wesker escapes. Now played by generic blonde dude, Sean Roberts. Wesker turns Tokyo into a sinkhole while getting away, and gets the drop on Alice and injects her with an antivirus to take away her superpowers. Sorry, no more face bleeding abilities. This movie is also one of the most egregious abusers of slow motion. Seriously, this scene, it goes on like for nearly half a minute. Knock out all the slow-mo, and this movie is like an hour long, tops. Alice rescues her old pal Claire from a mind control device, and it turns out that the safe haven is actually a giant tanker and an Umbrella trap. Alice teams up with Claire and her older brother, Chris Redfield,
I was wondering how long it would take.
played by Wentworth Miller. You know, before he menaces the Flash and becomes a superhero on Legends of Tomorrow. Wesker now has superpowers and tries to eat Alice to control his own T-Virus infection. No, we're not kidding. And she beats him back once again. Then she, Claire, and Chris try to turn the tanker into a real outpost for survivors. The film ends with the reveal that our old friend, Jill Valentine, is still alive, mind-controlled by Umbrella, and about to attack the tanker.
You are gonna be in for the fight of your lives.
Defying all logic for a franchise this old, Afterlife made more money than any other Resident Evil flick at just under $300 million worldwide, which set the stage for 2012's Retribution, which is basically a video game brought to life in every possible sense.
None of this is real.
The assault on the tanker lasts about 30 seconds, and Alice wakes up in an Umbrella facility filled with elaborate simulations of different settings, like Raccoon City, New York, and Moscow, which certainly make for some cool zombie set pieces. You know, kind of like video game levels. There are also clones of our old friends like Carlos and Michelle Rodriguez kicking around, and a nice throwback.
You haven't changed a bit.
It turns out that the creepy AI from the first movie is running Umbrella now, so Wesker helps Alice escape to try and take them on. But evil Jill Valentine is on the hunt. Alice eventually meets back up with Wesker in the White House, he gives her back her superpowers, and the last stand for humanity begins as zombie hordes attack DC. Man, this franchise loves a good cliffhanger, right? Enter Resident Evil: The Final Chapter, which looks to actually be the final chapter in this double trilogy, at least as far as director Paul W.S. Anderson is concerned. The final film will see Wesker betray Alice, surprise, right? And Alice fight for what's left of humanity in one last zombie free-for-all.
This has been my whole life.
Considering how many franchises have either flamed out or been rebooted in the past 15 years, it lasted through 3 different Spider-Man reboots and has been around 6 years longer than the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Not bad for a mid-budget zombie flick from 2002, right? Are you planning to check out Resident Evil: The Final Chapter? Let us know in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe for more videos. Keep checking out Sci-Fi Wire for more dispatches from the world of fandom.